My fellow Americans, this is your fellow American with the Help Me Make Sense of This broadcast. My fellow Americans, I've grown weary. I've grown weary of how simple-minded some of my fellow Americans appear to be. Let me try my best to help you make sense of this. The Doge refund check, the Doge rebate, the Doge dividend, whatever you like to call it. This myth that's been pushed on the American people to make them compliant with the draconian behaviors of the Doge office toward primarily federal government workers and federal government subsistence programs. What I mean by subsistence programs that people depend on for the basic necessities of life. Food, water, cash to pay your rent, cash to buy food, cash to buy clothing, to warm yourself, to pay your light bill. They're coming after necessary medical care for people who can't afford private insurance. Under the guise, my fellow American, of giving you and I a nice fat $5,000, that's the number, that's the high number that's been floated, $5,000 check from all of the savings that they require from cutting all these programs and services and people. Well, my fellow Americans, to quote the latest lingo from the street, the math ain't mathin'. You take someone's $55,000, $65,000, $70,000 a year job, and for them losing their job, you turn around and give them a $5,000 check. That's not even going to cover 1 month of their expenses. But it's really not the people whose jobs you're taking that you're giving this money to. That would be similar to a severance payout. No, it's a bunch of people, for lack of a better term, I refer to them as the red hat wearing tobacco chewers. They're all up in arms about receiving money from the suffering of their fellow American. Well, red hat wearing tobacco chewers, your fellow American is here tonight to tell you it's just not going to happen. Congress would have to agree to take appropriated funds, change them into non-appropriated funds, and then turn it back over to the Treasury. In the history of this great country, that's very rarely, if ever, happened. And it's definitely not going to happen with the paper-thin margin that the Republicans who have control of Congress have. They barely got the spending bill out of the House today. And it's not even we're not even sure at this moment if it's not going to be dead on arrival at the Senate, who even has a smaller minority. If it wasn't for the vice president being the tiebreaker in the Senate, they wouldn't even have a majority. So with this amount of political wrangling that would have to be done, and side deals having to be cut just to give you this money, my fellow American, I wouldn't depend on it. and nor what I wanted. This is akin to blood money. Someone lost their job so you could get a $5,000 check, and you're happy about that. Have some compassion for your neighbor, my fellow American. Stay together. Work together. Be blessed. And believe in your fellow American.